Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second. No, you call this a second, John, because actually last week
Yes,
we had a blunder. So I don't know if we should
1.0.
call this. Yeah, two, 1 point. No, well, whatever. But yeah, welcome to our second webinar for the year 2020. We are pleased to have you guys with us today, and we're also pleased to have John back with us again for the second time. Yeah, thank you, bro, for agreeing to come back. And I hear that you. Well, I think the word that one of our audience used was John handled it like a trooper. So kudos to him, which was obviously good news to me because I was, I was gutted to have had that technical issue at the time. So
Yeah.
thank you, bro, for handling it like a trooper. You know what it is. Otherwise, are you good, bro? Okay, I think John might not be able to hear me. John, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm back now. Sorry, you're just cutting off a bit.
Oh, okay. No, I was just saying, are you good? I was just asking if you're good.
Yes, man. Thank you guys for having me. I feel honored to be here, gents. I am
Hmm.
inspired by the both of you guys, especially you, dog. And anywhere I can get my hands in to try and say my 2 cents or contribute in whatever
All right.
small way
All
that I
right.
can. I'm more
Yeah.
than happy to. I'm doing really, really well. Um, yeah, man.
All right. Cool. 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 And I'm obviously joining you guys from KZN. The first one I was in Midrand, but this time I'm back home. And well,
Yes.
yeah, we were just talking about that. The guys were making fun of it. I don't know why, because it's effing beautiful here. It's amazing. I was told I can't cuss, so that's why I said effing beautiful. But yeah, and how about you, Doc? Where are you? Like, how's it? How's Joburg and how's everything that side?
So I'm currently still in Joburg.
Hmm. I
Um,
know that.
I'm
I'm
still.
just asking how it is.
So you just
Can
cut
you
off
hear
for
me,
a
Doc?
second. Can you say that again?
No, I was just asking how's Joburg. You can just how's Joburg?
Oh no,
You can't hear
not
me.
again. Yeah.
Okay, we are going to try and disconnect John for a minute or and try and get him back on because apparently there's a problem with his sound. I don't know how that could be. So, but just to recap, you guys, today's conversation with John is just going to be a discussion. We're just going to be talking amongst ourselves to try and maintain. Mike, just give me a moment, guys. We're good. Okay. John, can you hear me? Can you hear me, bro? John. Okay, no, I don't think John can hear me, guys. I don't think John can hear me. Doy, doy.
It's like the
Um,
universe can know something great is going to happen here, and it's just trying to find ways to distract it. Like,
what?
uh, I'm saying, it's like the universe can see that we're about to drop gems on this thing, and it's like, no, I don't want you guys to do this. I don't understand what's going on.
Wait, wait,
It
what?
started off so well, and now all of a sudden you're cutting. Like I can barely hear you now.
Can you hear me though? Can you hear me now? Because
I can hear you now.
okay, wow, where did that come from? Okay, sorry, John. Okay, cool. You were telling me about Jobbik, dog. Tell me about Jobbik. Yeah.
Man, yeah, Joburg is it's the first city. I can never call this place my home
Yeah.
because it's
Mm.
this is where I came to try and kind of create a career for myself and a life for myself. Um, my heart is in Lesotho and it'll always be there.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm enjoying being in
To be more
Joburg.
specifically, Kokwaneng Lesotho, I guess. Like you need
Eh?
to be. like narrow it down where exactly in Lesotho. You can't just say Lesotho, boy. Represent
Hey
Likokwaneng.
man, the whole country is my home, bro.
Ah, wait, okay, cool.
But yeah, specifically, if you want to be specific, a little town called Lukokwaning is where
Yeah.
my heart is. It's where I come from, and it's where I get most of my joy from, man. And you know,
Ah, wait,
the
ah,
the
wait.
the thing about being in Joburg is, um, every time I'm here, I never look at it like I came home. It always feels like I came to work, and even when I'm not necessarily doing anything. My mindset is always like I'm here temporarily because I'm doing X, Y, Z. But you know,
Yeah.
my heart is in Lesotho, man.
Okay.
But Joburg's cool. Joburg's cool. The weather's been nice. You know,
Mm-hmm.
no complaints at all.
Well, the weather's been nice. Okay, are you talking about the rain or the sun? What exactly are we talking about here? Because it's
I'm a
been
bit of
raining
both.
this
I
time.
love the rain. I love a bit of sun.
Uh,
I like it when it's balanced, where you get a bit of both, where it's not
yeah,
like
yeah.
too hot, or it's
Mm,
just too rainy. I like it when
mm.
you get a little bit of both. And Joburg's
Ah,
been
cool.
inconsistent like that.
Ah, well, perfect. I like that you like it with a bit of both, like the balance in it. Because
Yeah, man.
I think what I want to talk about, what I really want to talk about today is that balance. Like how do we find that balance? So basically, the question I'm going to pose to you is, say you are having a conversation with someone, say you're having a chat, like for example, like we are talking right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Just want to make
Yeah.
sure that okay, cool. Like we're having this discussion right now, and say we could be discussing any topic, and I say something that you particularly don't agree with, or that makes you feel some type of way. What do you do in a situation like that? Do you stay and listen, or do you try and prove your point, or do you leave? How do you make sure that you find that balance between you and the person that you don't agree with?
Agree with.
Hmm.
I've got it wrong often in the past because
Yeah.
my mission is always trying to prove that they're wrong and that I'm right. And often conversations
Hmm.
don't end very well when the other's trying to convince the other instead of you guys really just trying to get to an understanding of something,
Yeah.
or at least of each other's views, even if you don't agree, but to at least understand why someone has a different point of view to what you might have. And for
Hmm.
me, I guess the most important thing for me is trying to be as understanding as possible and to kind of see the world from their eyes, while also
Hmm.
um, standing firm in what I believe in, and not letting that being swayed. But I think the thing with conversations is you also have to be open to being to learning things that you don't know, which means
Yeah.
often that you might be wrong, and you have to be
Yeah.
open to those kinds of things if you really want to grow. And for me,
Hmm.
like, the thing that I think is important is when you're conducting a conversation with someone, even if it's two on two or four. I think the basis of that thing is to make sure that everyone is just trying to get an understanding of each other's points of view, and no one's trying to convince the other that my point of view is right and you should
Yeah.
join me.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
um, so yeah, I think it's just understanding. It's just trying to find a balance. It's just trying to go,
Yeah.
I have my
How do
views that I
you?
won't change,
Yeah.
but I'm willing to hear yours, and to see how it works in your world, and to see if it can make sense to me, you know
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But now,
without
how do you
necessarily
come?
judging.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
do you come to that? How do you come to that mindset? Because for for some people, it's difficult to do that. To step into someone else's shoes and see the
Definitely.
situation through their eyes, like literally
Yeah.
through their lens. And so it's not something that's common, which it should be, but it's not something that's really common. How
Yeah.
did you come to that? How did you like what? So how are you different from that group that I just mentioned? How did you come to that realization with, man, I need to step out of myself a bit more and try and be more open minded because I need to be if I am to understand how people why people do the things they do, and if I am to relate to anyone, how did you come to that?
Man, I guess part of it is also the experiences that I've had in my life, mostly negative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I, I've kind of I've kind of been shown that like this life thing isn't as straightforward as we would like it to be, and that
Yeah.
people's truths are theirs to hold, and you have to be willing to hear that, regardless of
Yeah.
whether or not it goes against what you believe in. It's like just hearing it out is enough to set you on a different course where you're no longer because the thing. So here for me, sorry. So the thing for
What
me
are you
that I
drinking,
struggle.
dude? Because you're drinking from two different cups. What's
I'm
happening
drinking
there?
water and then I'm having coffee.
Okay, cool.
I'm having a bit of a.
Okay. All right.
Mm,
Yeah, go ahead.
it's
Yeah.
it's such a
Oh
complicated
wait.
thing. So for instance,
Do you mind just switching your camera a little bit because I'm kind of seeing your thingy, just your mouth, your eyes disappear, and I'm only able to see. Yeah, when you're standing like when you're sitting like that, yeah, you're cool. Now you're cool. Maybe you can just
I'm just gonna stay here.
okay. But I don't want you to be a rob. Okay, but okay, fine, cool, okay, cool. But try and be
Yeah,
comfortable as
like
well. Yeah.
I've had a few trial and error things that have happened in my life. Like for instance,
Hmm.
to give you a small example, when I was in high school and I first started playing rugby,
Yeah.
we don't like when you first start playing a sport, you don't necessarily know how to do it, right? Unless you've obviously been watching it on TV. And I guess to some extent, even if you're watching it on TV, there's certain things that you will learn that are new on the field that you didn't know before. And so, if I were to go into a rugby training rugby session with the mindset that I know everything that there is to know because I've read X Y Z or I've watched all of the best play rugby, and so you can't. There's nothing new that I can learn. It's like that hinders me from
Hmm.
actually getting better because
Yeah.
in my mind I'm like, nah, I know it all. I know it all, and that filters into everything. Rugby is just an
Mm.
example, but it's like sometimes we we find one source to validate everything. And it's like there are so many variations of one thing that you have to be able to kind of see it like that. And I hope I'm not losing you, but like it's like this
You are.
people see the
You
world
make it. You're making sense. Yeah.
people see the world in so many different ways, and
Hmm.
often, you know, like my view will be completely different to another person's view, and so, like we see, those are often reasons that make people separate. But if you can try and
Hmm.
find the things in between, the things that differentiate you guys, you might find yourself connecting on those things, and then you
Yeah.
realize that all these other things that I was holding up or with such regard is kind of like it's not really that
Yeah.
important, and then you start
Yeah.
realizing that there are more things that connect us than the things that actually separate us. So for
Mm.
me, my experience has just been like getting it wrong, saying the wrong thing, and then someone telling me that you're not supposed to say that, or me thinking that things are supposed to be a certain way, and someone explaining to me that, well, for someone else it's different. Someone else sees it
Yeah.
differently to how you see it. So you have to be willing to to hear them out, man. You don't have to agree, but
Yeah.
hear them out. Try and understand
Exactly.
how they see the world, and try to see where you can, find things that you can say, this relates to me. And, those are the things that I think connect us ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also just the fact that we are human. Um, that alone, before you are John Tsenoli, you are a human being, and to really understand another human being, you need to be able to step into their shoes, and that means having a different perspective, allowing yourself to have a different perspective. Not that you have necessarily adopted it, but you are trying to understand why is this human being thinking or behaving malendlela? Why did he say that? Why did they do that? You know?
Yeah.
And
It,
I always say I always say that whenever in a situation, I always try and put myself literally into someone else's shoes. Like, say for example, something it's usually something bad when something like when someone does something bad that everyone frowns upon. It's usually around situations like that that I try and put myself in their shoes, like literally, to try and understand why exactly they made that decision and remembering what I had done also in the past, because I have also made some decisions that later, like 3 months down the line, after having made such sad decision, I realized, well, you know what, if I had known what I knew, if I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have done that. But this
exactly.
is 3 months ahead. This is 3 months old me, not 3 months young me, right? So if I'm ever to understand why you did what you did, I need to literally step into your shoes, and that means living your life, like in its entirety, living your whole life, going through all your experiences. And if I am to be honest with the answer is I would have done the exact same thing that you did because I am you. Okay. I'm stepping into your shoes. I have lived your life. I'm not coming in as a some girl or trying to understand John. I'm coming in as Ujon, trying as some girl trying to be John, not to judge John, but to understand why John did what he did and what can I learn from his what John did. And I
Definitely.
feel like there's so much that we can take away from that, and there's so much to gain from doing that, and just debating just for the fun of it and not really getting anything out of it. And maybe it's gonna say and now talking to each other because you guys don't agree on a topic like that. That's really we I feel like we can do so much better. We are capable of so much better.
Yeah. Uh, you know, my my grandfather used to
Mm.
talk about his spirituality and explain that the thing with like this thing is that the more you try to understand it, the more complex it becomes.
Yeah.
And when you look at like things like the universe, um, and it's like the explanation of what is out there, it's like it's so vast and so deep, and the further you go into it, the deeper it gets, and the more confusing it gets, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you try to reverse that and kind of bring it into yourself, and you, like if you're observing another human being and you look at them and you're like, this person is an infinite amount of stardust just
Yeah.
radiating. There's there's no telling how far your inner complexity goes. You know, people, like, you can study so much about yourself, you can learn about your history, you can learn about where you come from, but there's
Mm.
certain biological things that are just hard to explain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always find that when you dive and you dabble a little bit deeper into that realm, you find yourself lost. And if you're there with someone, another human being, it's actually quite comforting because you realize that we are actually very much alike.
Yeah.
And the things that separate us are the things that we have allowed to be a big thing. When in actual fact, it's really not. Like, for instance, you know,
Mm.
people still make a big deal out of skin color. And it's like, it's really just melanin. you, you know,
Yeah.
it's really
It's in
just,
everyone.
uh,
Yeah.
it's, you know what I mean? Everyone has it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if someone has less of it or more of it, but it's like,
Yeah.
you look deeper than just that. And it's like, everyone
Exactly.
has red blood.
Exactly.
Everyone has a
Yeah.
beating heart. Every single human being has an innate feeling of safety or danger. It's like,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
within you, you feel those things.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
You
and,
know.
and like, So, I always, when I'm in a situation, when I'm in conflict of opinions with someone, I always try to look at it holistically and go, what is it about this guy's views that I can find, or what is it about us or this situation that I can use to kind of connect us and make us realize that um, we're actually not as like separated or as different as we sometimes
You think
allow
we are?
ourselves to believe, or
Yeah.
like in this world, we're not as different as we have been told we are. So there's quite a few things that you have to put into play
Yeah.
when you're trying to do those things, and it's like these are all such important things, man, because this is like
Mm.
everyday things, from small encounters that you have with the person, like you're walking across the street and someone gives you, a smile,
Yeah.
and that makes you feel something, that you don't have to say anything to them, but just the fact that you walk past a person and they smile at you instead of frowning, it's two different feelings
Dude, it's
compared to if
crazy.
you're walking past someone and they're like
Yeah. Yeah.
straight
Yeah.
faced. It's like you can
Yeah.
feel that energy, and it's like, for me, the mystery is in those things, those interactions, those things that you can't quite grasp, but you can feel. You know what I mean?
You feel
Though
them.
that's
Yeah.
where I think the magic is, because that's where I think we might be closer to finding the things that connect us, because it's like that stuff there is unexplainable. That's just like
Yeah.
energy, and it can be so beautiful, man. It can be so beautiful.
Why I chose to speak to you specifically about this topic
Why?
because I knew that you'd go that deep into it.
I,
Like because that's how deep we need to go into it, and I
yeah,
knew
man.
that you go that deep into it, and I love that you touched a bit on it. Something that I wanna kind of expand a bit more on. Your grandfather, he played
Yeah.
a big role in your life, like a big well in my life as well, in a lot of people's lives actually. The man was a rock star. He was a
Yeah,
superstar,
man.
and but what exactly did you take away from him? What did you learn from him? What did he teach you?
I think the lessons are still ongoing. Um,
Mm.
every now and then I stumble, and I'm I kind of I get a flashback of something he might have said, or some to me, or to someone else, or while I was in the room, or just sometimes you overhear conversations, and you can take in, like, especially when someone's feeding life into another person. It's
Yeah.
like you can't help but pick up on certain things and adopt those things. So for me,
Mm.
like, some of the most profound things that my grandfather used, like, it's because the thing. The thing
I
about this
know.
is,
I
like,
know how difficult it is.
it's so hard to explain, to try and condense it
Yeah.
into one sort of sentence. But it's like, you know when if someone could be the epitome of light, of like, it's like innocence, man. It's if you could transfer a newborn, a fresh baby's energy into an adult, it's like that's what you
Yeah.
would get. It's like
Yeah.
everything is so straightforward. It's unfiltered. It's un it's untamed. It's the truth,
Mm.
and it's the whole of it, and it comes with so much unconditional love that, to a certain extent, it feels a bit overwhelming, where you're like, what is this guy
Don't
actually?
deserve it. Yeah. What's happening here? Yeah.
Yeah. he had this he had this ability to make people feel, and I mean individually and collectively, but he had this thing of making people feel really, really special. Like, if you
Mm.
walked into a room with just him, I promise you, if you walk out of that, when you walk out of that room, you will think that you are the most important person on this earth.
Yeah.
And I think the things
Mm.
that I found incredible about him was, again, he always tried to find things that connect us as opposed to things that make us different. You know, he 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 installed in, like, for instance, growing up, I used to have a bunch of friends, like a lot of friends,
Yeah.
probably too many,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
they always used to come visit. And my grandfather would be the most the most welcoming man, and he would sit us all down, and if it wasn't storytelling, he would he would he would install in us how much every one of us were his kids, regardless of whether we were actually blood related to him or not. But the beauty of seeing him take on that and go, I see you, I hear you, and I love you, and we are in this thing together. Those are the kind of things that I took from him. He used to call me his friend. Like,
Mm.
he used to say he used to say things like, my friend, you don't want to come visit me today. What did I do to you? And I was obviously very intimidated by him. So I could never say that back to him, like, you're my friend too. But, you know, in life, as I guess things progress after his absence, it's like, I've felt quite a few things that have made me go, I was that guy's friend, man. Because I
Mm.
realized that a little bit of my understanding of life comes from all of my experiences with him. And um, I'd like to believe that he saw that in me before I saw it in myself.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that kind of make me go, man, if I'm going to be any kind of human being on this earth, I want to be a good person. I want to be someone who who helps people see, the beauty of us, and the beauty of,
Yeah.
like, what it feels like to be a holistic human being, and to lead with love, and to lead with yeah, man. To lead with love. That's the one thing.
and and I think right there is where we say thank you. Um,
Yes.
because that was you can't say more than that. We need information, but we don't need too much of it because that was like you said, you were going to throw jams, and that's exactly what you gave us. So we need to process jams.
Yeah.
Too much jams can be overwhelming, and you end up not hearing part of the message and missing
Yeah.
important aspects of the message. So
Hmm.
that was perfect, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to check if there are any questions. If there are any, no, there are no questions. Okay, cool, perfect. So I think everyone was listening. No one had a question.
Yeah.
And of course, why wouldn't they listen? That was beautiful. Thank you so much. I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah. Um, I actually just wanted to give you guys a shout out.
Yeah. Okay. Please. Mm.
Just like on yeah, like on a personal level, I wanted to shout you guys out for always supporting me.
All
This
right.
industry is cold, man. It's not like a normal business where you get in because of what you're capable of doing, and like you have the qualifications to do the job or the experience. It's like
Oh yeah.
here it's a
Yeah.
little bit cutthroat, where it's like, if I don't like you, then I'm not gonna help you, Or if we're not hanging around the same crews, then I don't see any use for me to help you. And that's very unfortunate, because sometimes it leaves people who are deserving of an opportunity in the sidelines,
Hanging.
and then
Yeah.
other people get the best of that. And so I really appreciate you guys for always, first of all, believing in me, and for always, like, encouraging me to continue on. There's days like these where things are a little bit unclear, and you feel a little bit worried about whether or not things are going to work out. But it's so refreshing and so heartwarming to know that, like, the struggle the struggle I'm going through, I'm not entirely by myself, and that at least I have brothers who I can confide in. And
Mm.
like, if things were to go completely south, I at least know that I'm not alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
um, So yeah, big ups to you guys. Big ups to you, Sam, for
Yes.
everything that you're doing. I think that you are destined for great things, man. And it's been an honor to have spent the time that I got to spend with you, living with you. I'm still
All
quite
right.
excited to see what's going to happen in the future because, you know, I've been meditating on a few things quite a lot. I think Mike knows
Mm.
as well. I
Yeah.
told him that I'm gonna buy him a Rolex when he comes back for the Olympics.
From Japan, okay? Yes, of
And
course, of course. Yep.
it's it's those kinds of things that sometimes they're little and they come across as jokey, but the truth is that they stay in the mind and they manifest themselves, and we meditate on these feelings and we pray and we work ourselves off to try and make this thing happen. And the most beautiful thing that I can say is walking a journey is nice when you're doing it alone, but it is
Mm.
fantastic when you're doing it with a group of brothers. And so
Yeah.
for anyone
Yes.
listening here, I
Yes.
encourage you to
Do it together.
find your tribe, man. It's hard. It's
Yeah.
really hard. But find your tribe, man, and stay there
Yep. Yep.
and feed life into each other, because 10, 20 years down the lane, if God forbid something happens to one of us, or one of us doesn't have their things going very well, I at least know that I can go, hey Sam, can I come crash at your house for a few months?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
it's
yes.
different
Yes.
when you're going through a struggle completely by yourself, man. But
By
at least when you
yourself.
have
Yeah.
someone that you know that you can call up at any given time and say, "Hey, man, I'm struggling and I need your help." And that's the most. It just makes the experience so much better, man. We've seen it in movies, teams coming together.
Yeah.
It just makes
Amazing
everything
things
so
happen.
much better.
Yeah.
Mm. So
Wow.
thank you guys,
This,
man.
nah, I'm good. I'm good. Mike is over there clapping hands, so I think that was perfect. I have nothing else to say. Otherwise, I'm going to ruin everything. It started off as a blunder again, but John came through. Thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much. I don't know where that came
Thank
from.
you.
Again, you really, bro, you scared me there when you came back. I don't know what you were saying, because I was speaking and then suddenly you were talking as well. I'm like, okay, did he hear what I was saying? What's happening? But cool. That was perfect. Um, Thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you again on Thursday. On Thursday, we are featuring Kesa. She's an athlete. We have amazing things to discuss. We have amazing things to discuss. Um, Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Have a
Thank
lovely
you guys, man.
evening and afternoon. John, boy,